Good morning, everybody. I'm Stephanie George. I'm the chair of the library's Board of Trustees. With us today are my colleagues, Sue Whitford and Eric. We do have a quorum this morning. Our business this morning is to review the contract, the collective bargaining agreement between the Washington Public Employees Association, UFCW Local 365, and Kitsap Regional Library. Part of this meeting may include an executive session today for board discussion, and we're going to be kicked off and led by Craig Michaels, our Human Resources Director.
Thank you, Stephanie. Before we jump in, I just want to give a quick overview of how we got here. So as you know, on April 27th, we came to an agreement on a new tentative bargaining agreement with the WPEA Employee Represented Union. So the contract was ratified by the KRL membership on Tuesday late morning, and it was ratified. And so we now have a new collective bargaining agreement that is retroactive to January 1st of 2022 and expiring on December 31st of 2023. So I'm really happy for KRL. I'm excited that we've finally got an agreement on a tentative bargaining contract, that we have an agreement on a contract. And I really want to thank the members of the bargaining team. I would be remiss if I didn't thank them publicly here. Karina Langstret, Olivia Muzzy, Alex Bodecker, Jen Vaughn, and Jay Logan. And also Dan Bayer, Jeannie Allen, Kathleen Wilson, Craig Michaels, Kirsten Wooster, and Jillian English. So board, you've had the opportunity to review the contract, which has been submitted to board docs, and if we feel that we need a further discussion, as you said, Stephanie, we'll move it to an executive session. But Craig has created a PowerPoint that he'll walk us through, again, giving us an overview of the contract and the ratified agreements.
Okay, Jason, can I just ask one point of clarification, because I'm not sure I heard you correctly. My notes indicate when I was reviewing the contract this morning that it's retroactive to January 2021 and not 2022.
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, so it is 2021 through December 31st, 2023. Okay.
Right.
All right. Craig, I think we're ready for you.
Good morning. So you all have read this and looked it over. I'm going to just go over some of the higher level information just so we can so if you have any questions, these are the areas that I think are the biggest changes that you'd like to see. I'm just trying to share my screen. Please let me know when you see that. I'm trying to talk it. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is just highlights higher level of kind of a recap of what changed from the past collective bargaining agreement to now. Just like I said, it's an overview. I'm just going to say that there's a financial piece here, and the primary part of this was the cost of living adjustments, and there will be a 2021 2% cost of living adjustment, 2022 a 5%, and then coming up this next January a 3% cost of living adjustment. So that's the primary financials. There are also some articles that I wanted to highlight, some parts to Article 3 in safety. There's more robust language around maintaining a safe work environment. Article 6 in the seniority, we created two types of seniority: a classification seniority and a library seniority. Article 9, hiring and probation, we codified a preference for hiring, promoting from within. Article 11, layoff and recall, we added bumping rights. There weren't any in the contract prior to that. Article 15, employee discipline, there was additional language adding discipline and steps of progressive discipline, so it's more clear and spelled out. Vacation and sick leave, we updated to reflect all the members of the larger bargaining unit, including exempt and non-exempt accrual rates. Article 20, we added a recognized holiday, Juneteenth. Article 22, lead worker assignment. The library associates will be trained and compensated for branch site support. And this is a big accomplishment, I think, for the team on both sides to get some more site support in place. Article 24, there wasn't a no strike, no lockout provision, so that was added to this collective bargaining agreement. And that is the larger part of it. You can see that there are a lot of different parts in here that were already in there that maybe the wording was finessed, and there were some other small changes, but those are the highlights. And I can go back, answer any questions you have on any of these. But that would be the summary of the new collective bargaining agreement.
I have a question. Can you talk a little bit more about I forget what you called it, but the lead responsibility. So yes, the lead worker assignment. So for example, if the branch manager's not at the branch, how that looks, and a little bit more about what library associates do, kind of what their normal job responsibilities are, and how that relates to librarians that are in the branch.
Okay, Sue, I'm going to remind you, I've been here for 2 months, so I'm going to attempt to answer that as the best I can. So right now we have managers and supervisors that are the site support. They're the ones that need to be on site, and we want to create even a more a workforce that can step up and help with those responsibilities. If there's a meeting, if there's an emergency, and with 2 people on site, this is going to bring so they're going to be doing a lot of training on safety, on the more of the patron code of conduct, a lot of those different things when needed, but that they're just going to support the manager and supervisor who are already there. It's just another level to be able to help have a little flexibility, but they're not going to go in there without training and making sure that they learn about staffing. They learn about, just like I said, the safety is very important here. So we're going to be doing a lot of training between now and when they will be up and running in this new position. The other part that you said is how that affects with the librarians, and I'm going to defer to someone else to answer that.
I don't think it'll.
Go ahead,
Jason.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, it's not going to affect the librarians per se. These people will be the point of contact. If there's something that comes up in the branch that needs to be dealt with when a manager or supervisor is not on site, and they'll be trained to handle those situations.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I have one question. This agreement is good through the end of next year, and I'm wondering how leadership will be approaching the next year and a half to ensure that leadership is providing what staff needs throughout the rest of the next year and a half to ensure that that KRL is living up to its end and making sure that we transition into whatever the next agreement might be. I think I can glean from what's been discussed so far, the ability to be promoted from within is something that I can tell has been really important. Safety is important as well. What other things are leadership doing outside of finances to support the workforce?
Jason, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, good question, Eric. And so, this contract, I've been clear about this before, but just want to reiterate that our process for moving into the next contract, and getting another contract after 2023 really starts now. And so how we do that is we keep the lines of communication open with our union partners. And so we're committed to having open dialogue and meeting whenever we need to be. Having said that, we do have structured meetings that right now are occurring, I think monthly, and then we'll eventually move them to quarterly. And so in those LMCC meetings, essentially what happens is we meet with bargaining members and talk about any issues that are happening on the front lines. And so, having that relationship is critical, and being able to manage that on a weekly basis, or, monthly basis, or, quarterly basis, or whenever issues come up. We'll have a regular cadence though of meetings, and so that we can address issues as they come up and start to, if there are any, issues that come up out of this contract, particularly, we'll need to address those. And so the other part of it too is making sure that the workforce is educated about the contract. There's been some dialogue right now from our union rep, Frank Prohaska, about, figuring out how we can get everybody trained on the new collective bargaining agreement. And so Craig and Mr. Prohaska are having those conversations offline and also online, and figuring out, what are the sticky points that we need to really navigate through. So it's an ongoing process, Eric.
Right.
And hopefully the goal for us as a leadership team, and also I believe with the bargaining team, is that when we get to this table, the next time to negotiate, we should be, aligned. And that's the goal, so that we don't go through a protracted negotiation process that just, lingers on and on.
That sounds great. That makes sense. Thank you for explaining.
Sure.
And I want to kind of ask a financial question, but it looks to me, when I was, again, looking at the contract, and really Jason's remarks since he's gotten here, in terms of the increased emphasis on staff training, education, professional development, which is exciting, actually. And we see it in this contract as well. So can you talk a little bit about the implications of this agreement, both in terms of, the COLAs, the benefits given to staff, but education as well, because that will also be a budget item.
Yeah. So in terms of education, I'll attack that first. So with that, we've already given a high-level overview of managers as to what to be expected. I mean, for associates in particular, they need to be trained on their new responsibilities. That'll be occurring over the next couple months. We are not going to slam those responsibilities on them. They need to be aware. And again, the entire workforce needs to be aware of what the implications of the new contract are. So we'll do that. In terms of training, though, specifically, one of the goals we've had all along is to make sure that our employees have opportunities to train within. And so with the advent of the new training specialist coming on soon, we're not actually waiting for that. We want to provide leadership and training opportunities. I think you saw that at the last board meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We want staff to step up and present their work outputs at board meetings. We want to give them further opportunities to have leadership within this organization. And so one of the things we're doing as a leadership team is to re-examine our processes and how we've done things, to be able to make sure that folks have the opportunity to do that. So that process started well before this contract was put into place. But having a new HR director now, and having more of a vision for HR, and having that training specialist come, and having Lucretia, who's our Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, starting to tag team with Craig, we're starting to develop a more robust training outfit. Jeannie, our Director of Communication and Strategy, is also, aligned with HR and aligned with Lucretia in terms of designing processes whereby we can put out policies and procedures to people in a transparent way, that they can be accountable for them, and that the organization as a whole can be accountable for them. So we're really starting to get those things online now. We have some exciting things to present at the next board meeting or two about that process and how we're going to be able to implement that. But we're really excited about a learning management system, and getting that, further online. So I'm excited about that. In terms of any other financial issues, Dan can talk about the implications of that and how it gets rolled out.
Well, thanks, Jason. We'll, with the ratification today, if that occurs today, we will implement the changes in our Kitsap financial system and the payroll system so that effective May 16th, everyone will be brought up to the COLAs that they need to be at this point in time. Then we've told the union we need maybe up to 2 pay periods, but I think we can do it in a shorter period of time. I'm hoping we can, but I'm hoping on the next pay period, we'll be able to do the retro and be able to apply the retro to their checks. So we have been working, we've not been waiting for the ratification vote. We've been getting everything ready to go so that we can just push the button or buttons after this meeting. So we're ready to go and make this happen as soon as possible.
Did that answer your question, Stephanie? I'm sorry.
Yes and no, but I think it's really a larger question. I mean, I think what I'm hearing and what I like, and I think it's important for staff, we don't often distinguish, is there's layers, starting with the new HR director, there's layers in here in terms of basic basic training, whether it's around a contract and how to implement it. There's that broader around education. There's even that broader implication of professional development. You spoke the other day, Jason, even about your own experience when you got to supervise interns. I mean, there's a lot that goes into people's positions that afford them professional development and leadership. And I think the case I want to make is that's an investment, right? Whether it's investing in a training person, whether it's investing in a learning management system, but that we continue to be really proactive in our language about those investments and how important they are across the board for professional development. So in fact, we can promote from within as often as possible, right? Because that's what really makes us strong and vibrant. So I love this direction, and it's certainly not without a cost, if you will, but it's really an investment. And I think as trustees looking at how does that flow through the operations budget over time. It doesn't have to be answered today, Jason. I think it's just one of those things to be acknowledged, that we're further investing in what is that investment? Very worthy, not questioning it at all, just want to support it.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Anybody else have any questions? So I'm gonna, again, I'm gonna look for the head nods. I'm taking it that we don't feel a need to move into executive session for further discussion. Are we ready at the moment to take action on the agreement?
Before we do, I just want to ask any members of leadership team if they had anything to add.
Hey, Jason, I'd like to add something. This is regarding Stephanie's point. I'd like to just speak to the fact that since I joined the organization in May 2016, KRL has always sort of had a heavy investment in terms of professional development and staff training. And I think I've always appreciated that. I think staff have appreciated that. When budgetary times are tough, the first thing that usually gets cut are conference and training budgets. And during my time here, I think during those tough times, I think we still try to maintain a reasonable amount in those budget lines. So I just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Juan.
Anybody else? Sue, Eric, further thoughts or comments?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Well,
Jason, do you last comments, or should we go ahead and take this to a vote?
No, just want to say thank you again for everybody, the entire organization for, I do not want to leave out the contributions of all the frontline staff, because even though they may not have been on the bargaining team, I started to hear from frontline staff even before I got here. When it was announced that I was going to be taking over as the next executive director for KRL, I was starting to get messages from people who invited me to Kitsap, welcomed me to Kitsap rather, and started to connect with me and give me information about this beautiful community and library. And then in my travels, I've talked with tons of staff members who talked about what was important for them and what's important to them at KRL. And so, they were important too. I think their feedback we tried to bring into the bargaining sessions, and hopefully I want people to know that we heard them, and we heard the frontline staff in general, and we heard from the bargaining team. We know what's important to you. And I want to, publicly just say that, I'm really appreciative of you all, and I want to work hard on behalf of you all to make sure that we're all taken care of here at KRL. And so I feel like this is a dynamic workforce that people feel happy in. And that was never a real question. I think people want to feel like they're appreciated, and I want them to know that they are appreciated by not only me, but the entire leadership team. So, it goes without being said that finances are important, and we all know that, but to have people know that they're important and that they're respected is also equally important. So I want to publicly say that we appreciate you. We appreciate your hard work, and we're all going to work together to make sure that we can resolve any, future differences, and we're going to do that. So thank you all. I really appreciate everybody.
Yeah, I think one of the things has happened. I mean, I certainly came on when we've been in this virtual environment almost the entire time. And I'm looking forward to when we open up a little bit more and we can be more active and on site. Because I do know that when we were on site to support the selection process for the library director, we had so much interaction with frontline staff that we don't know. We get great interaction with leadership, but to get that frontline interaction, whether it's opening up libraries or other events, and clearly palpable people's commitment and passion to this work. And we see it all the time. And I love that we're bringing more representatives of that work to these too. It's good for all of us, but it's just good to be reminded of how passionate people really are, and really how diverse this organization is in terms of what it's offering our community. So I want to say thank you as well. I hope we're getting to the place that we will be able to spend more time and make those connections as trustees in the community, particularly with staff.
Thank you, Stephanie. And thank you, Board of Trustees.
Well, with those final comments, I'll take a motion.
Yep, I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement.
A second.
We all have a job here. Are there any further comments or questions on that motion and second? Hearing none, I vote to approve. All in favor of approving the contract? Great, thank you. Congratulations, everybody. This has been, a really long, times very challenging process, and it just feels really good to be kind of emotional. I've not even been involved in it. Great. Well, so you can imagine how everybody else feels who's been so directly involved. So I just want to say congratulations to everybody. And
this is a tough time in the world right now with prices going up. So glad that we got this out of the way, and this is good for the staff.
Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Board, for your support.
Thank you.
We are adjourned, right?
Yeah, meeting adjourned. Yeah, technically meeting adjourned.